Hello and welcome to episode 150 of the Truly Daebak Show. This is a bi-weekly podcast where the two of us come together each week to talk about K-pop and whatever's current in the K-pop industry. This week we just got kind of a topic / conversation to go off of. So no reviews this week, but we might in the next episode or so because I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of releases coming out. Anyway. As always, I'm joined by Nate.
Turn on the light, and we can be like. That's where it ends.
Nice.
That's from Wiki Miki. You need to go listen to it.
I do. And I'm Jacob. # no blow no. It's in the basement. So yeah, this week we basically have
It's an episode 150 special.
Yes, 150 special where I guess we're kind of going back and kind of giving our thoughts on what are the essential K-pop groups that every new fan kind of needs to know. Specifically girl groups this episode, but we'll probably do boy groups in a later episode as well.
Yeah, I basically had this idea for a couple reasons. One, we're doing a 2012 to 2014 girl group rating, so that brought back some memories. There was this horrible Twitter ranking that hurt me to my soul.
Purple back at 10th place or whatever. What are you doing?
Yeah. It hurt my soul and made me. This was the main reason I was I need to educate people because it was there were groups like Miss A and Nine Muses in the 80s and 90s out of 120 groups, and Nugus you never heard of above them. Yeah, Purpleback got 10th when SNSD got 11th, and Elris was 4th, and sure, I like Elris, but they're not the 4th best girl group of all time, by any stretch of the imagination. So that just hurt my soul, and I was I need to educate some people. And then also we've been doing a lot of concert watch-alongs in Discord, which for me, I have a lot of Gen 2 girl group DVDs. So it was just a combination of things that made me think and even conversations we have in Discord that just randomly happened that it reminded me that people weren't really exposed to this. Yeah, because they're newer K-pop fans.
Yeah, we have a lot of people in Discord that are super knowledgeable about a lot of stuff in K-pop, but they after a certain year, before they got into it, it's just they're just not aware of a lot of this great stuff that happened before.
Yeah, exactly. They just never had the time or took the time to go back and listen to some of these older girl groups. So I was let's do an episode where we just talk about the essential K-pop girl groups from before K-pop. To me, it's before 2015-ish. What girl? Because that's when to me K-pop started getting really big, and that's when all the big groups BTS started coming out a little after that. Yeah, so to me, a lot of fans came in after 2015 and maybe don't know about some of these groups, and some of these groups were a lot of these groups aren't active anymore, so that's part of the reason you just don't see them. I think you don't get any exposure to them.
The way I kind of see it is the K-pop fandom kind of grew in 3 different waves, I think, at least as far as I've been in it. And that was in so for me, the one that I kind of came up in was 2009, 2011, that sort of interval was just you could kind of find random SNSD, Super Junior, FX, Big Bang, 21, etc. Shiny, videos on YouTube and stuff randomly. So most K-pop fans were kind of a product of stumbling upon these videos that got millions of views, but weren't getting noticed by the news or the mainstream media or anything like that. And then the second wave, I'd say, is 2012 with Gangnam Style coming out. People are becoming more aware of Korean music as a whole, just in general, just because of Psy's huge global hit.
Yeah.
And then people I guess naturally start discussing like, oh yeah, that's K-pop, and like, oh, what's K-pop, and then they research it and they find all these other groups that, are like, for example, maybe you like Psy, and then you see, oh, he's under this company, and then you see
Mm-hmm.
there's these other artists that are under the same company, and they also have a ton of views on their videos, and yeah.
Yep.
And then the third wave is the BTS wave, which has kind of been, like you said, I think, honestly, like yeah, you say like 2015, like when Twice debuted, but I think really when it really started picking up was around like 2017 when BTS started getting like a ton of attention internationally. So from that time until the present, it's just kind of been accelerating.
Yeah, I was just saying for 2015 was kind of like my cutoff for like groups that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah. I figured since we're talking about history, it's
yeah.
Yep.
Before we do that though, do we want to talk about what we've been listening to?
Sure, yes. So for me, as far as new releases go, the only one I've listened to in the past like week or so is the new Nature song, which, surprise, I actually really liked it. It was pretty good.
Yeah,
like which is funny because like we've kind of criticized Nature in the past just because they tend to rely on very like loud and boisterous, like in your face, like sort of choruses that kind of just they just get under my skin too much. Like they're too like annoying for me. But yeah, this was actually really good. Like it still got their like electronic influence, but like the drop chorus was actually like well done. It wasn't annoying. It was catchy. Yeah, it was nice. It was really good. Also much more mature concept than they usually do.
Yeah, I didn't like their last song, but I liked pretty much all their other stuff. But I really like this new song. It's like you said, it's just got a really catchy chorus. Gets stuck in your head. And then also I've been listening to Wiki Miki and Uju Sonyo, no surprise, IOI branches. But yeah, Uju Sonyo, just pretty classic, really great Uju Sonyo song. Like nothing like crazy different for them.
Yeah.
But if you like them, definitely check it out. And Wiki Miki, although it's probably my least favorite of their past 4 single, like counting this one, the past 4, because they did Picky Picky, Tiki Taka, and Dazzle Dazzle.
These names.
I think yeah, they're great. Now they have Oopsie. It should have been Oopsie Oopsie or something weird. But I think this is my least favorite.
Of their like singles recently.
Yeah, but I think part of it is those ones were like super catchy. Like all 3 of them are just insanely catchy and earwormy. This one is way different. It gives me like Gen 3 vibes. It's like kind of like a Miss A style song.
Miss A, almost, etc.
Yeah, it's not as like experimental, but it's got that like more mature vibe to it.
Yeah, I mean,
so
like those years where like everything was sexy, like everything.
Yeah.
Like it's that's another thing we might mention later in the episode. It's just like,
oh yeah, I will get into those groups.
Just interesting, the trends.
Yeah, the trends that go from cute, innocent stuff to sexy and back and forth. But no, yeah, Wiki Miki is really good. Check it out. Even if you didn't like their recent stuff. Yep. The new song's really good.
This week we got some stuff upcoming. Sunmi is the one I'm really excited for.
Yeah, Sunmi.
I'm so excited for Sunmi.
Next week I think is Irene and Seulgi.
Irene and Seulgi finally next week. Yeah. I saw a teaser for Changha. When's that coming out?
Yeah, Changha's coming out sometime soon. I'm not 100% sure. A couple days, I think.
So we got that to look forward to. Outside of K-pop, I've mentioned before, but I mostly listen to rock music outside of K-pop, and recently I've just been kind of on a whole like Chris Cornell binge, just because he's one of my favorite all-time singers. So like Audio Slave, Soundgarden, go check those bands out. They're incredible. 2 of my favorites. Also I was listening to Yuna's album from last year. Yuna, the Malaysian singer that was featured on No Different on Epic High's last album. I was listening to her 2019 album, I thought it was pretty good. That's worth checking out as well. So yes.
Okay. Do we want to get into
With that,
the actual
let's
topic?
get into the topic of the week.
And I think we should start with the obvious
Yeah.
point of SNSD.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say this is easily the most like essential. So disclaimer, we're both like really biased here because we're both so on.
Yeah,
but
100%.
I feel like most people would probably agree that except for maybe like explicitly Blackjacks, but that SNSD was like easily the most like influential and like impactful girl group of the second generation. Because like I guess for kind of a background is like prior to 2007 when they debuted, there was like really was not ever such thing as like a really large girl group like them, because they debuted with 9 members because they were their whole concept was to be like the female counterpart to Super Junior, who debuted before them in SM, who had they got up to like 13 members, 15 members or something at some point. No. But like before Han Gong left and all that, you know, Anyway, so SNSD, like there really were no big girl groups, and there also weren't any girl groups that got like super huge in like a really long time, since like the late 90s.
Yeah.
So
before SNSD, it was pretty much all soloists. Until like, unless you go all the way back to like the Gen 1 SES, Baby Vox, like Finkel. Yep. Era. Yeah.
So that's like kind of what the meaning of their name comes from, is like this is a girls' generation. Like like they're bringing girl groups back, and they definitely did. They came back with a bang. I'm pretty sure they won like music shows with their debut, so like that's pretty big for a group in general. I mean, they're from SM, so they kind of had an edge, but yeah, that kind of like sets the stage for like the context in which they debuted into. And yeah, I guess that kind of leads into like where we both entered into K-pop, which is G.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been listening to us, like, you know that we're hardcore SNSD fans. We both got into K-pop around the same time, mostly because of G. G was like,
was the most viewed K-pop music video all the way until Gangnam Style came out.
So, yeah, it is like it was only at like example of.
Yeah, it's funny because it was only at like 100 million views, which is like not that much for today's standard, but back then that was like crazy.
Yeah, that was huge.
Like I was used to like normal K-pop videos getting like 20 million views or something like that. Like that was a big song back then.
Yeah, 20 million was huge.
Yeah. So
now 20 million's like nobody notices you.
Yeah, you're like you're kind of like a middling group if you have 20 million views, which is crazy because like that's a lot of views, and like you have a large fan base. Although this is kind of tangential, but I'm wondering if that's sort of a product of like music becoming even more digital than it was before, because
100% part of it,
because like I was watching like a documentary on like is rock music dead, quote unquote, and the thing that they were saying is not really, because like back in the like 20th century, like at least in America and the UK, etc., like it was like hundreds of artists selling millions of records, and now it's like millions of artists selling hundreds of records.
Yeah,
like, or like thousands or whatever the number is, but like it's like kind of more people selling less records, but like collectively it's like it's more like it's more like people like just consuming way more content, so like the net spread much thinner. So I'm wondering if that has anything to do with it, because
I 100% think it does.
Yeah,
like digital, or well, like one, you didn't have like view bots and ads and stuff racking up the views.
Yeah, because
But then it was just
I remember when TT came out, and my mind was like literally like blown. I was like, how the hell is it getting this many views so fast?
yeah, exactly. But and then it wasn't as digital, and also like the international fandom was way smaller, so YouTube wasn't as big of a focus, like because those music videos were also on Korean like websites that had video hosting websites
and
so
stuff.
like Naver and stuff, so like the views on YouTube weren't really as pertinent to like how popular it was.
That is a thing too, because like with the prevalency of Android phones too in Korea, the adoption of Google has been much higher.
Yeah,
like I was watching a video today. It was like a random segment of, it was like Koreans like reacting to like just different brands and stuff and guessing when they were created. And one of them was Google, and they were like, yeah, I didn't use Google until like 2010.
Yeah,
like they'd never used Google in their life until 2010 because they got an Android phone and they had to have the account for it.
Yeah,
but yeah, so I guess that was an interesting tangent on why YouTube views are much more inflated now. But yeah, anyways, SNSD. That song was huge, is the point.
Why should we care about SNSD?
It's kind of hard to describe. Like the way I usually say it, like when people, like when I'm just talking about SNSD in Discord and why like I like them so much, is just they had like kind of a larger than life sort of like persona. Like they were always like really big and powerful compared to a lot of girl groups today. Like it felt like they like this might be romanticizing it too much, but it felt like they stood for something, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I
know what you mean, but yeah, it's 100% red, like rose-colored glasses.
It is. It 100% is. But like I'm sure that's how like diehard BTS fans feel about them. Like
yeah,
they've 100%. Definitely expanded the horizon like so much. But yeah, I guess SNSD sort of like did that for girl groups, like specifically in Korea. So yeah, like this is also another tangent. Like Into the New World, their debut, like that's used as like like at like gay pride protests and stuff like that, or women's rights protests as well.
Yep.
Like just it's like a symbol of progress, I guess, which I think it kind of coincides with the whole like symbolism of what the group like stood for to begin with also, which I thought was kind of cool. Yeah, but anyways, I guess they blew up with G in 2009. And after that they like quickly became like easy the biggest like girl group in Korea. And for a long time they had the most music show wins, I think, until EXO took it in like 2018 or something like that.
Yeah. And Twice just passed them with more and more.
Yeah. So if that gets you like how big they were, like they like a girl group had the most music show wins, not a boy group, which is crazy because boy groups get more sales and more views and everything. But
that's a thing now, but it was a way like the gap was way bigger back then.
Yeah, too. Especially with
like between boy groups,
especially with groups like TVXQ, for example. Like they were easy. Like TVXQ, for like context, in like I think it was in like 2008 or something like that. They were like literally the biggest music group in the world.
Yeah, they had the biggest fan club of any music group in the entire
that's what
world.
It was.
And it was like it was basically all in Asia.
It's crazy.
Like when you're comparing it to like all these like Western artists that have a worldwide audience. But yeah, I think just the fact that the gap back then was different. The like SNSD just they were like they were huge.
They didn't invent girl groups. They just kind of opened many doors for them, and they like set a standard. Yeah, exactly. And like that like later girl groups would like look up to.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like people always say like you should stan your favorite artists. Faves, and like every current K-pop groups faves were included SNSD. Like everybody knows SNSD. They're what people like these groups look up to. They're what Twice was modeled after.
Yep.
Like
like
you said, they didn't invent girl groups, but I think
like,
they
is it a coincidence that Twice is like a 9-member group?
9 members.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, it might sound arbitrary, like, oh, they invented the number 9. Like, no, like I feel like you can tell that's what JYP wanted. Like, he's like, I want the next
100%.
SNSD, because they're
SNSD.
out the door soon, you know?
Yeah.
As far as their prominence.
Yep. And like you said, they didn't invent girl groups, but I think they brought them back in the mainstream.
Yeah, they brought them back into vogue.
When they were gone for a long time. So yeah, they're just a very important group, and on top of that, like, their music's just incredible. Yep. So, like, even if like you don't care about the history of K-pop or like how important they were to where K-pop is now, like, it's just worth checking them out because their discography is flawless. I mean, it's not truly flawless, but like it's incredibly good.
Yeah, they have a lot of albums too.
Like they have like 5 or 6 full albums. They maybe like 8 if you count Japanese ones.
Yeah, let me check that.
It's just, but like, even from the beginning, their stuff was so good. Like we said, their debut, like, we've talked about it a lot, but their debuts, it's honestly one of the best K-pop debuts.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Ever.
I think it's easily my favorite. In terms of, again, probably biased because they're my favorite group, but like, I just feel like just the impact of just that debut in general, like after the fact, like, again, it being used as like a song of change and sort of like liberation, sort of say, like in Korea, like in protests and whatnot. I feel like that kind of impact is like can't really be said for many other groups, I guess.
Yeah. And like, even then, going from there, you have like Baby Baby is like, to me, so I say like G is the quintessential like poppy, upbeat, fun, catchy song. Like, Baby Baby is like what every innocent like girl group, like slower ballady mid-tempo song like that, or that whole album is just full of like perfect examples of that type of song. That like every girl group, I feel like, is just trying to replicate that type of song. And I think part of why SNST's discography is so good is they're like 80% vocalists. Yeah, like, where most groups nowadays don't. Like, we've shifted away from that a lot. So like, Cooper made a comment when we were watching the concert, which I love and it's hilarious to me, which might offend some people, but oh well. It was when we were watching the SNSD concert, he was like, remember when girl groups could actually sing? Like, it's just like, nowadays we've gotten so far away from actual vocal talent.
It's crazy because like it's like a weird, like, counterintuitive thing, because I feel like K-pop has become more commercial than it was even back then, while also allowing way more freedom for members to be more like in control over the art, which is so like it's like conflicting ideas, but like, because like I don't know, it's just really strange to me, I guess.
And so I think that just helps their discography be so much stronger, because they didn't care about rapping at all. They basically didn't have a rapper.
If they ever did, it was Hyoyeon.
And or Tiffany.
Tiffany, like at concerts and stuff.
And then like they had a couple dance focused members that could still sing pretty well, and like I think like 6 out of the 9 of them are like main vocalists, which is just like not something you ever hear about.
Like nowadays. if you put them in a group like today, they'd probably be one of the better vocalists. I'd agree with that. Like at least the top 5 singers in SNSD, I think they'd all be main vocalists in a group, I think.
100%. And so I think that just helps their discography stand out because the music quality is so much higher than it might be with a group nowadays, where it just you don't have that level of talent. You have the production value is a lot higher nowadays.
Yeah, for sure.
So that helps
Music
stuff
videos and
stand
whatnot.
out. Even just I'm talking about even just the music.
Yeah,
in
cleaner
general. Like the
production.
production of the music,
for sure.
Yeah, just cleaner, and so it helps it stand out, and it also helps mask the fact that maybe the members aren't. And I'm not trying to say like K-pop idols nowadays aren't talented at all, or can't sing at all. I'm just saying like it seems like that's become less important, and I feel like visuals and
Performance,
dancing performance have become much more important. Because SNSD wasn't the best dancing group out there by any means.
Although they did have one of the best K-pop dancers.
Yeah, and they have really good choreography. But they're not
known as a dance
if
group.
you compared them to if you compared them to like G-Friend, like G-Friend would destroy them in terms of like the group,
overall group
like
together,
choreography,
for sure,
and how clean it is and everything. But it's just interesting because it seems to have that focus seems to have shifted. But to me, that makes their discography so much stronger. I mean, so what albums or singles would you want to highlight? I
mean, you'd obviously want to check out like all their main singles, but I'd say I'd cover the like. So I guess I would stick to the like when you're first starting. Just there's two approaches. There's two approaches that I take. It depends on the person, but like sometimes I like to show people the newest stuff and work backwards, or start at the beginning and work forwards, depending on what their music tastes are like. So like because I know a lot of people like they just won't listen to something if it has like old sounding production. Like they just won't listen to it.
Yeah,
which that frustrated me in one of our ratings. Like they just bombed Boa because it sounded from the year 2000 because
it's old.
I was like, this is a great song though. Justice for Atlantis Princess. Come on.
Oh, Atlantis Princess.
Yeah,
so
like
good.
Honestly, one of my all-time favorite K-pop K-pop songs, and they just bombed it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so obviously we mentioned G. I'd say on the first album, Girls' Generation, which is actually the song they were named after. It's a remake from...
Which is a cover. It's a
cover of the Lee Seung-chul song from 1989, which also was the year that most of the girls were born. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. 7 out of
9.
6 out of the... I think Sooyoung's also born in 90.
Well, yeah, but Soyeon's 91, and then Yuna I know is 90, and then the rest I think are 89.
Yes. No, I think
Sooyoung also 90? You might be right. But anyway.
Yeah, I always forget this. Yeah, she's February 90. I think that's why, because she gets lumped in with them because it's before Lunar New Year. So she is considered the same age as the 89 girls.
Oh, interesting.
When really she was born in 90.
Yeah, so Girls' Generation, Baby, Complete. That is like required listening because it's Complete. Like what every like girl group ballad nowadays is like modeled after. It's like this song, it seems like.
Complete is my favorite K-pop ballad of all time. Makes me cry pretty much every time I listen to it. Mostly the ending. But like Jacob said, every girl group ballad is just trying to replicate Complete, basically. And it's not like Complete was the first K-pop girl group ballad or anything either. It's just like
I feel like it's clear
it's just
that
a really good ballad.
This song influenced a lot of later groups' album track ballads.
Yep.
Kissing You is I'd say the last like essential besides Into the New World, which we already talked about. Dude, Kissing You is so good.
Jacob's just gonna sit here listing all of their singles.
Kissing You is so good. Like if I just want to feel happy, I'll just listen to that song.
Yeah. And watch the Lollipop choreography. It's so good.
Oh, like like for Kissing You. Okay,
Yeah, they
at
had,
first
like,
I thought you meant
lollipops.
21 Lollipop. I was like, no, stay away from that.
No. No, I mean Kissing You, they had lollipops as
Yeah.
props for the
Yeah.
choreography.
Um, uh, I guess lastly for like the like very first album, this actually wasn't on the album, but in their debut single, which people rarely look at, there's a song called Beginning, and it's easily their
Beginning,
most
yeah.
underrated song.
It's like almost a country
Yeah, it's
song.
so good though.
It's weird.
It's so good. I love it. It's
It
like in
is,
my
it's
top
really
10
good.
favorite SNSD songs. Um, yeah,
I wouldn't put it that high, but
yeah.
it's
So those
good.
are like sort of like I'd say essential from like just their debut.
Classics.
And then on G, G is also, you should just listen to that album. That's another. Most of these, most of their albums are you like kind of just should listen to, but like the only one of their mini albums that I don't think is that good is Genie.
Which is funny because it's your favorite K-pop
yeah,
song
it's
of all
funny
time.
because that album contains my favorite K-pop song of all time, but the album itself I think is easily their weakest.
Yeah, I think I agree. It's probably
like the only song on Genie that other than Genie that I listen to often is Etude. And that's about it. I don't really listen to Girlfriend, Boyfriend, Mike Child, or 1 Year Later that often. Yeah. So, anyways, back to G. This whole album's just good. Just listen to the whole G album.
Yeah, it has my favorite K-pop song of all time.
Yep, way to go. It's like a fun, like pop rock. It's like just fun song.
Yeah, it's like quintessential pop rock girl group song, which we don't get very often.
And then here's another ballad, Dear Mom, dude. It's so sad because especially just because two of the members like they like basically didn't have mothers, so it's just like it's just it makes me like tear up when I see them like perform it live because they get really emotional too.
Oh yeah, if when they perform it live, it's
like
it's really
sad. Because like Tiffany and Yuna both don't have their mothers in their lives anymore, so it's sad. Destiny, this is one that's not talked about that much, but I really like it. Like, it's a good. I don't even know how to describe this. It's like an electronic, just pop song.
Yeah, it's very electronic.
Like, I don't think they really covered a style like this again until like the I Got a Boy album. They didn't really do a song like that ever again. I'm thinking of like Express 999 on that album. Sorry if I'm just like naming off random songs from like different points, but like they have a very expansive choreography, discography. So yeah, and then Let's Talk About Love. So good.
Yeah, the whole album's really good.
Yeah, I feel like, all right, I'm gonna start curating this more, just because I don't want to be like, listen to all 212
we can't go through their every song
discography.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, I think you should listen to their whole discography.
The two albums we talked about, their first album and G, those would be in the two that I would include those into the listening. Listening to Genie, just a single. Let's see. The Run Devil Run album, like the repackage, all that. That's their second like full album. That's also worth listening to.
Yep. It's got some fantastic songs.
The Boys, which was my favorite, like when I first got into them.
Make sure you listen to all 6 English
of The Boys.
Remixes of The Boys.
Snoop Dogg.
Featuring Snoop Dogg and Susie and Teddy's remix. And
you listen to The Boys by Girls' Generation featuring Snoop Dogg.
Yes,
because that literally exists.
He has.
Oh my god! So I was like going somewhere with my like a project group. We were just going to get food, and they knew I was into K-pop, so they're like, "Yeah, just like play some K-pop in the car." I was like, "All right, sure." And at some point, I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot this exists," and they were like, "What?" And I was like, "Just wait." And Snoop Dogg just pops out of nowhere. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's so out of nowhere too. Like it does not fit.
Like what's Snoop Dogg doing featuring on a song, a K-pop song from 2012? Like
yeah, exactly.
It was just so funny. Yeah, so the boys, I Got a Boy, also like any of their full albums really. Mr.
Yeah.
Like I'd say it's hard just to not say to listen to their entire discography.
No, just to listen to everything. Yeah,
because really the only album that I would like not recommend that much is Genie. Like I said,
is Lionheart.
Yeah, Genie, like it's good, but like it's not. It's not like the album itself doesn't stand up as much as the other ones do.
Yeah, so. The B-sides are some of the weaker B-sides. So. Yeah, it really is just like listen to everything. It's so good. And the biggest thing, like honestly, which is something I almost pretty much don't ever say about any K-pop group ever, is listen to their Japanese albums.
Their best Japanese discography of any K-pop group. Like just easy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's not even a discussion. So like I almost never want to go and listen to like the Japanese albums from a group. Yeah. Like so I'll check out the singles usually, but the B-sides are usually pretty bad. But like Girls' Generation, their first Japanese album, it has like some of their best B-sides, just period. Like it just check out, when we say check out their discography, it includes their Japanese albums, which means there's even more to listen to.
On streaming, except for Time Machine, which is a crime.
Yeah. Yeah, so it really is just check out everything. And I really want to shout out Holiday Night actually, because that could have been a huge miss. And All Night is honestly one of my favorite singles. All Night by them
was
of all time.
One of two of their like 10th anniversary. That was their last like album that they came out with. Yeah, All Night was I was really surprised by it. Like they give us like a disco inspired like dance track. Like I was not expecting that at all. And yeah, that's definitely one to check out for sure.
Yeah, and so SNSD, I think they're just great. Now
another thing
before we move,
I was gonna say like I'd say to get a good idea of like what we mean by, or at least what I mean by, they just seem like larger than life, like just huge, like even though they're like 5 foot tall girl like small girls.
Yeah, they're all
like
all
to
really
me
short.
like I still like when I imagine like meeting one of them or whatever, I imagine them being like eye level with me. But like when we went to see Tiffany, for example, she was like this tall against me. And to really get a sense of that, like watch their concert DVDs. You can probably find most of them on YouTube. Like just watch them there.
If you join our Discord, we're gonna watch one Saturday.
Yes.
So assuming Twice Lights doesn't show up, it depends. But we'll watch them. They will be watched again sometime in our Discord if you join. Before we move on though, there's one other thing we need to talk about that we kind of glossed over, and that is the fact that they also have the best K-pop subunit
TTS,
ever, which is TTS.
Cool.
So it blew my mind when they were like, "We're gonna take your 3 favorite members."
Yeah, literally.
I was like, okay, it was literally my top 3 biases. So TTS is Taeyeon, Tiffany, and Soyeon, which are also, not counting Jessica, like the top 3 vocalists pretty much from the group. So like, but their music
like vocals,
also like on par.
If you like vocals, listen to TTS.
Yeah,
like that's all you need to know.
Listen to Library. Yeah. Listen to the live version of Library, because that live version I just watched that so much. Dude. It's
like
they only had 3 albums, 3 minis, and one of them's a Christmas mini. But
that first mini, my favorites are probably Twinkle and Lovesick. I love Lovesick so much. That's like one of my favorite ballads.
That whole album, Twinkle, just in general, is so good. Like, it's just so hard to talk about
without just saying, listen to this, and
just
this,
saying,
and this.
Listen to everything. Yeah, because it's all amazing. Like it's hard to just be like focus on these things because there's nothing to focus
yeah.
on. You need to check out
Yeah.
everything. And then spend the next 2 years of your life watching all their reality shows and falling in love with them. and
Yeah.
that will become your favorite group
Yep.
of all time.
That's
That's what happened to us.
Yep. Except it happened like 10 years ago.
Well, yeah, except it happened when they were actually putting out reality
Yeah.
shows and music.
Ah,
And I'm gonna keep going because then I remembered also all of their solo music is insanely good too.
especially
Like,
Taeyeon.
you have like 400 songs to listen to, but you need to listen to all of them. Because yeah, Taeyeon, I mean, obviously people might not really know SNSD that much, but they know Taeyeon
Yep.
still, because she's still putting out tons of, like, she's still putting out solo
Yep.
music. And I think people like actively recognize how good she
Yeah.
is. But like Tiffany's Korean EP, Soyeon's Korean EP, like even Yuri's
Oh
and
yeah,
Yuna's
they're really
music,
good too.
like
Their mini albums from
it's
last year.
all
Or
really
wait, when
good.
was Yuri's? Yours was like 2
Yeah.
years ago, wasn't it?
Yours was 2 years ago. Like they're just all amazing. So just check out anything related to SNSD.
Yep.
And I think we could probably move on from there because we could just
like
talk about
we've
SNSD for,
actually
like 4
done that
hours
before.
straight.
We just had an episode all about SNSD.
Oh, 100%.
So from then, let's give
Yeah.
some justice to other groups.
Other groups. Yeah. What do you want to do next?
I think the most obvious ones is probably Kara. They're probably the next most obvious.
I was gonna say Kara and Wonder
Yeah.
Girls were like the other ones. For me, I mean, Kara is my number 2. So like if we go, my top 3 K-pop groups of all time are SNSD, Kara, and A-Pink.
Yep.
And we're gonna talk about both of those. We're gonna talk about all 3 of those at
Yep.
some point today. But yeah, I think Kara makes sense because Kara, getting into the history of Kara, so they were DSP's girl group. Actually came out, they debuted before SNSD by like 5 months.
I think Wonder Girls might have also.
But DSP, yeah, I think they did too. DSP was a lot bigger back then, because
Oh yeah, they had Finkel. What else?
Yeah, so Gen 1 was SES versus Finkel. Those were like the 2 biggest girl groups. And DSP was, so it wasn't the big 3 back then. It was
SM and DSP.
It was SM and DSP. So yeah, so like SNSD and Kara was like gonna be a big thing. Now Kara didn't really grow into being the second Finkel.
I mean, it depends. Because like in Japan, like Kara was indisputably the number 1, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get to. Like they didn't hit in Korea like nowhere near what SNSD did, but they were basically the biggest K-pop group in Japan for a really long time. Like basically twice is like split twice into SNSD and Kara, because like what twice is in Japan is what Kara was in Japan, and what twice is in Korea is what SNSD was in Korea. To make comparisons to nowadays. Now Kara, they had a rocky start.
They had the debut
because they put
that one girl no one remembers.
They had a lot. Yeah, they had some member changes.
I always forget what her name was.
I never remember. So for their debut album and their first 2 singles, they were a 4-member group, and after that, one of the girls left.
It was.
So the
original members were Sungyeon, Gyuri, Hara, and that other girl, right? No? Was it Nicole?
No, Sungyeon, Gyuri, Nicole, and the other girl.
Oh, Hara was added with Ji.
Because the first album...
Okay.
Yeah, the first album was full of amazing Nicole English
raps. Yeah, I forgot
stuff.
about that, actually.
It's so cheesy. It's great. So then, right after that, they added 2 members, which were... Okay. They added 2 members, which were Hara and Jiyoung, which is like what most people think of as Kara, is that 5-member group. And they stayed as that for a very long time. Now, Kara's discography isn't nearly as good as SNSD's. But their singles are really good.
I'd say their album tracks aren't as good, but their singles are easily on par.
Yeah. so like they're kind of split into different like like I would say like eras. So they started out with like, not counting that first album, which was, it was like very like Britney Spears, like late 90s early 2000s sounding.
Yeah, it's so
is what their debut sounds like a Britney
it was
Spears
really
song.
weird.
But then once they added Jiyoung and Hara, they kind of did
Cute.
They were like went with like a really cute, like peppy, fun girl group sound. So it was like G, but like way cuter.
It was like even more,
if that makes
like,
sense. So they like rock. Yeah, they like Rock You and Pretty Girl.
It's so fun. Pretty
Honey,
Girl's
Honey.
the best English lyrics in any song.
Yeah. Yep. So like they just had that like really like cute, bubbly, fun girl group sound. And then they went just completely different direction, where they went into like Mr. Lupin,
Jumping,
Wanna, Jumping, which are just like hardcore electronic like dance tracks. Like they're just really catchy, very EDM, like electronic sounding.
Oh, we forgot Step too.
And they blew up with, well, yeah, and that leads into Step, which was like the beginning of like that's pretty much what they did throughout the rest of their career. But to me, like Step was the start of the next like group, because it was a little different.
I remember
it feels
I remember when I
me.
first got into K-pop, like Step was huge because it just came out like within like
Step
a few
came
months
out in
of me
2012.
like getting into it. So like I was still like seeing it like all over the internet and like playing everywhere, like when I was looking at videos and stuff. So Step is definitely the one that sticks with me the most.
Yeah, and like so they blew up because of Mr.
The butt dance,
which is the famous butt dance, which everyone was doing on every show and everyone knew that song. So like that's what blew them up. But that group of songs is just really good. It's all very repetitive, like EDM choruses that are just really catchy. So, and then from there, like we get into Step, we get into Pandora, Dangerous Girl, I think is the name of it. I always forget that.
Damaged Lady.
Or Damaged Lady, that's right.
With the weird bowl cuts.
Yeah. But like, so those are also like very electronic, but they felt like more mature.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And like a little, like the ones before them were like really raw and like hardcore EDM, where these had like a little bit more mature sounding. And that also kind of leads into Mamma Mia, which I think is super underrated, because that was their first comeback after
Nicole and Jiyoung left.
Hara and Nicole and Jiyoung left, and Youngji got added.
That was kind of a waste. She was only in the group for like 1 year. Kind of sucks.
Yeah, she was in the group for 1 year, and then the rest of the group members left. But like those songs are just really, really good electronic, like girl group songs.
Mamma
like,
Mia, Cupid.
They're all worth checking out. Yeah. Well, Step, Pandora, like, and then on top of that, they had like a really good set of Japanese singles. Like I never really got checked out their albums.
Like
to be honest, their
I'm
Japanese
used to
albums.
listening to the Japanese version of Mr. because that's what was on the music video that you can see.
Oh yeah. See, yeah, I never got used to that because I would always watch the live performances of Mr. instead. But yeah, it's just they're kind of like forgotten now. It seems
it's
like
sad too because they
were actually like a really big.
Yeah, they're
group.
easily one of the biggest groups back then. Like
it was like the big three. It was like they were the fourth after the big three.
Like SNSD, 21, Wonder Girls, Kara. I think those were like the bigger ones, and then also you could probably add 4 Minute in there as well.
4 Minute, and Tiara. before we get yelled at by TR Stan.
The same guy, he comes on, he gives us he's like, guys,
yeah, he's still listening 3 years later.
How
he's
many
like, I
times
told
do I
you
have to tell
already.
you 4 Minute was not as big as Tiara.
Yeah. So yeah, it just kind of it's kind of a little like sad how like they've just become forgotten.
Yeah. Like I bet honestly I wouldn't be surprised if most new fans have no idea who Kara is.
Exactly. Like, and if they do, it's because of Hara, which is really
up, but,
really sad. So like they're a group, like a girl group that is 100% worth checking out. Their singles, they just had a really good run of singles,
for sure.
And they're way bigger than they're remembered as being.
Yeah.
They even had an anime.
Yeah,
like, they had
Kara,
an
the
anime.
animation, which for some reason was like,
which was horrible.
Yeah, it also was like why did you do this? Because like Nicole and Ji Young left like that year.
Yeah, it was right. Like it. Now, side note, the theme song to that anime is one of my favorite Kara songs. To be honest, I love that song so much. But the anime itself is horrible. They did something that I honestly can't think of any other K-pop group doing, and they put out an album which was entirely solos.
Oh yeah.
Where each member got a solo single.
Sungyeon's,
they all got MVs.
Sungyeon solo.
Yeah, and Sungyeon's solo "Guilty" is in my top 10 favorite K-pop songs of all time. It's basically just like a hard rock song, so like we just don't get, and it's like strings, piano, and rock, which if anyone knows me and my tastes knows that's like exactly what I want, and amazing vocals from Sungyeon.
Yeah.
Now Kara is actually kind of the opposite of SNSD, where they didn't really have great vocals. I think they fit in more with like current standards, where they were a lot better at dancing.
Yeah, I think really Sungyeon was the only like super strong vocalist.
Yeah. Guri was okay, but she has a really weird tone.
Yeah.
That like a lot of people just can't really get over.
You can definitely tell it's her singing on any of their songs.
Yeah, and we were into this because we watched their concert last week, and there was definitely some like iffy vocals, but I mean they're not bad.
Yeah.
And they have their moments, but it's just they're just not as well remembered as they should be. Any extra final thoughts on Kara?
I don't think so. But yeah, like basically, like they're one of my favorite groups back in the day. It's so weird, like thinking back, like I was, like, like I was like so into K-pop back then, and nobody knew what it was. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, I know. I was the amount of music. It's like I was thinking about this, like because we in Discord a lot of people like talk about Scrabbles and like how many listens they have to songs. Like if I had my stats from back then,
if I had stuff from 2011
all day.
My God. I'd have like I'd have like 6,000 SNSD Scrabbles easy. Like
like just my whole like college time after I found K-pop was just walking around campus listening to K-pop on my Zune. And like all I would do is just listen to these like 6 or 7 groups that we're talking about like over and over again, just their whole discographies just on repeat. In terms of B-sides, I would say check out Step, the album. I think that album is probably their best. But for the most part, you can mostly just check out their singles.
Honestly, also Step, I feel like is like the perfect example of what I think of when I think of 2011 K-pop. Like it's just that song. Oh yeah, like that's what it was like back then. If you want to know, like just listen to Step.
Yep, and you should listen to Step because it's amazing. It's one of the best K-pop songs of all time.
All right, I guess the next most obvious one probably be Wonder Girls.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then we could probably talk about 21 after Wonder Girls. Although I know I know a lot of people on Discord, and you probably don't like 21 that much, but
I mean, I don't mind 21's music. It was just I couldn't like 21 because I was an SNSD fan, and that's just how it was
I never let that hold me back then. I was just like I like them.
Oh, I totally. Well, I mean, it also doesn't help that. Well, I'll save it for when we get there. Let's talk about Wonder Girls first.
Wonder Girls, I'd say, of the three we've talked about so far, they have the weakest discography, I think.
Yes, except for their newest album.
Okay, yeah. Let's.
So
we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah. So Wonder Girls was another one where they had like several member changes. So like if you know Hyuna, she was originally a member of Wonder Girls, which a lot of people don't know.
People don't. Yeah, because she was there for
one
like
song.
Basically nothing. She left like right after they debuted.
I don't even remember why. I think she had like some medical condition or whatever.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
So anyway, Wonder Girls, their like first few albums are very, what I like to call like JYP. Like they're like extremely like JYP style. So like I guess you can kind of think about like early Twice, but like even it's weird. Like I don't even know how to describe the JYP style because it's very like it's almost like flat sounding, if that makes sense. Like it's not super emotional. Yeah. It's just very like I don't know how to put it. Like
I mean it's different too because like Miss A is nothing.
Yeah, Miss A
or Twice
has that quality too, but less.
Yeah.
Like Wonder Girls, if you listen to early Wonder Girls, I guess what I'd say is like, so like JYP,
it's a very auto-tuned.
Very auto-tuned. They're like vocal style. They're taught to like, they like sing, but not with like a ton of variation, and are very like airy vocals as well. I don't know why, like what that style comes from, because I don't think JYP sings that way, like himself.
Yeah. I'm not really sure.
I'm wondering if maybe it was just so it'd be easy for like normal people to sing the songs that they're singing. Like it's just like catchy and like anyone could sing.
It doesn't require like vocal skills,
Which is weird because like Wonder Girls had like some really good vocalists, because Sunye's really good, Yeon's really good, Sunmi's really good.
Yeah.
And we later found out that Yubin's pretty good as well, like through her solo stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then I mean, Sohee and why am I forgetting her name? Hyerim. Yeah. Like they're not bad either, but
congrats, she just got married like today.
Who did?
Yeah.
Oh, she got married? I didn't know that.
She got married like today, yeah, or she's getting married very soon. That's cool. Or something.
Good for her. I know Sonya got married a few years ago.
July 5th, so next week, or 2 weeks, week and a half.
All right. Anyway, I guess we should probably just start like through the phases of like their members. I guess is how we can kind of go through it.
Where Sunmi like leaves in the middle and then comes back.
Yeah. So
which is the weirdest thing.
Let's cover that. So like their first album, like their debut is Irony, which I don't know why I don't really listen to that song very much.
It's Irony, it's probably one of the
not super
singles.
Memorable.
Yeah,
like it's not bad, but like if you're somebody who doesn't like dated production, this sounds extremely dated.
Yes. Yeah. And like Tell Me and Nobody are just way better.
Exactly. So yeah, Irony. They had so Hyuna was in the group for like this one EP.
Yeah, I looked up. It was like her parents pulled her out for health. They were worried about her health, but then she just joined 4 Minute a year later. So it didn't make any sense. Like,
so yeah, Hyuna was in it. Sohee, who was in the group until basically up until Reboot, which is the good album we were talking about.
Yeah.
Before. And then Sunmi was in the group I'm sure a lot of people know Sunmi nowadays
Yeah.
just because she's super popular now as a soloist. Yeon, she has a solo career as Hot Felt, if you've listened to her before.
Yep.
And then Sunye,
We've talked.
Sunye was the leader, and she is now like she's like a humanitarian worker or something like that. I don't even something like that. I know that's where she met her.
Oh yeah, she's a missionary.
Yeah, she met.
This is she's a missionary.
She's missionary. Oh, so she like a Christian missionary. Okay, apparently. Yeah, because I knew she went around and did like volunteering and stuff. I think that's how she met her husband.
Yeah, they lived in Haiti from 2014 to 2018.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Doing missionary work. And then
it's like she goes from being a pop star to a missionary in a relatively poor country.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
Interesting. I mean, it's really cool that she does that kind of stuff because, like, I feel like you don't hear about idols going on to do stuff like that after they've decided to retire.
Oh, well, apparently now she's back into the
entertainment.
Yeah, okay. Apparently, yeah. So this was in 2014 March. She announced her and her husband will leave for Haiti in July, where they live for 5 years doing missionary work. And then January 2018, they left after only 2.5 years due to less than favorable conditions such as lack of clean water, extreme temperatures, and public safety concerns. But then in August 2018, apparently she joined Polaris.
Oh, she got a label?
And she's listed as a soloist.
I haven't heard of her releasing anything, though. But at least I don't remember that.
I don't think she did. Yeah, she hasn't released anything. She was on King of Masked Singer in 2018.
Okay. I think that actually does. That's basically all she's done, though. Yeah. Anyway, she's a really good vocalist. Yeah. Next, I guess, is like the era with like So Hot, Tell Me.
Yeah. Well.
Hot, Tell Me, Nobody. I think those are kind of
then Yubin
like lumped in together. So like that was the era with Yubin came in at that time after Hyuna left because
when
Hyuna was originally their rapper, and then Yubin became their rapper. And so Hot, Tell Me, Nobody. Those are like the 3 hits of that time. I would talk about B-sides, but to be honest, I don't really know the B-sides that well from back then. Yeah,
I don't know them that well. I mean, there honestly weren't very many. These are all like,
and singles.
Like small EPs and like singles. And
how many songs does Wonder Girls have?
A lot of them. Not very many at all.
I think they might have a smaller discography than 21.
They have a lot of. No, I don't think it's that small because they have 3.
Oh wait, they do have the full albums. Yeah. Okay. No, I'm wrong. Okay. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, Tell Me. I guess 2 Different Tears. Was that was right after Sunmi left?
2 Different Tears was 2 Different Tears. Yeah, it was later. That was after.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So Tell Me and So Hot were both like huge hits in Korea. Like they're like super catchy. I'd say those 2 are definitely ones that you should check out just to know that like they exist. I guess. Like they're
just like
classic. Yeah,
classic
exactly.
songs.
And then they really had a big break with Nobody, which is like at that time is when they started to try to branch out into the United States, which they were like one of the first K-pop groups to ever try to do something like that. I think they were the first actually, because BoA came after that, I believe.
Yeah, I don't remember when BoA
2009 was when her English album came out. Anyway,
it was announced that their Nobody English single would be released. They announced it on their official MySpace page.
Wait, they did? Their MySpace page?
Yes, the group's official MySpace stated that an English version of Nobody would be released.
I love that. So yeah, anyway, so they released the English version of Nobody, and that actually was the first K-pop song to chart on the Billboard, like I think top 200 or top 100, something like that. Like it wasn't like way up at the top, but it was on the chart. Like it was on the radar of.
It hit hit 76. Yeah,
so that's
on the Hot
that
100.
Was just kind of crazy, to be honest. Like that it like made it there in the United States.
Yeah, this was 2008 or 2009.
Yeah.
Like,
and then I believe so after that, Sunmi left, I believe, to pursue education, right?
I'll look it up.
I think it was because she wanted to go to college.
Probably.
And so yeah, after that, after Sunmi left,
yes. Pursue an academic career.
Pursue an acting career, is that what it said? You said?
No, academic career.
Okay.
Academic, you're correct.
So yeah, after that, there's 2 different tiers, which honestly is less memorable in my opinion.
And Hyelim replaced her.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Hyelim was Sunmi's replacement, basically. And then, so there was 2 different tiers. There was Be My Baby. Like, this is just like singles wise. There was another English single featuring Akon.
Well, you skipped The DJ Is Mine, and more importantly, you skipped Like This. Like This was before.
It
like
was? Money. I thought it was after.
Yeah. No, The DJ Is Mine, Like This, and Like Money were all 2012.
Okay. Anyway.
Like This was first.
So DJ Is Mine, Like This, and Like Money, which is another English single, which was kind of like a last-ditch attempt at like trying to stick in the US.
Yes. It did not work.
No, like actually, speaking of that, them deciding to focus on the US for so many years, like, is literally like kind of killed their like popularity.
The reason they died. Yeah.
Yep. Like that actually like directly allowed SNSD to just pull
in
straight
21 like yeah, exactly, because they were like with Tell Me and Nobody and stuff, like they were on par with SNSD and 21 and possibly even ahead of them.
Well, 21 had just debuted, so I don't think they're huge yet.
Or no, yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting. But like, yeah, it was SNS. I keep forgetting. I always forget that 21.
Think they were actually bigger than SNSD
like way
before G came out.
They were. It like went back and forth a little bit, but yeah, they pretty much they surpassed SNSD until G came out. But then yeah, JYP decided to do the US stuff and just they lost all of their momentum.
Hindsight's 2020, I guess. But yeah, so I'm curious how like wary JYP is of the US market at this point.
Oh yeah.
Although it's interesting.
I mean, he doesn't need to care about it right now. He is the biggest K-pop girl.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think he's smart though, because he's focusing on Japan, not the United States.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I feel like for his brand of music, Japan is where the money is.
Yeah. Well, also I don't like. I still don't even though how big K-pop is, I still don't think like a girl group could get as big here as like BTS.
I mean, Blackpink would if they actually release music, but that's another issue. Like everyone knows Blackpink.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even kidding. I get my like some friends like randomly messaging me like, "Hey, do you know Blackpink?"
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, you're 100% right that like that style of girl group just wouldn't work.
Yeah,
in the
like
US.
Twice would never.
It's much more suited for
like
Japan.
I think Wonder Girls, like they had for the time, I think it would have worked, but I still think it wasn't the correct time to have a international girl group like try to penetrate the market like that. Like K-pop wasn't known back then, and I think they need the quote unquote brand recognition of the genre itself, kind of like BTS has right now. I mean, BTS has created that now, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. Yeah, it's just so yeah. After that whole era, they had basically they went through like an entire like restructure after like not having music for like 4 years or something like that. Like they're on hiatus for a long time. I remember.
Yep.
Yeah. So after being on a hiatus for a really long time, they're like, "Hey, we're coming back, and we're a band now."
Yes. And it was the greatest transformation K-pop has ever seen.
Yeah, so like they release these like really like all right. So the album they came back with as a band is called Reboot.
Sohee and Sunday,
which we like mentioned earlier. Just go listen to that whole album.
Yes.
It's
100%
fantastic.
listen to it.
What was that?
It's. I said Sohee and Sunday left.
Yeah.
And this is when Sunmi came back.
Yeah, Sunmi came back. I assume just because she was done with college
to play
yeah,
play
exactly.
the bass.
I mean, and before that, Sunmi was doing her solo stuff anyway. So like while the group was on hiatus, so
yeah, she had 24
hours,
24 hours and full moon, which are fantastic.
So yeah, it was awesome. Like Sunmi was playing bass, Hayden was playing lead guitar. Yeon was playing piano or keytar.
Yeon played keytar, which was amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Yubin was playing drums.
Yes, and then Yubin on drums. That was just so cool. I wish we'd get another girl band that's like commercially viable.
I feel you. Yeah, and I feel you is just such an amazing like 80s retro.
Yeah, actually.
Like song, and the music video fits it perfectly, and just everything about it's so good.
Yeah, and I mentioned before I kind of got sidetracked was like the way they announced this was so hype. Like they just came out with these teasers of each of the members playing instruments, and it like blew my mind. I was like, Sunmi is playing the bass, just because like, yeah, it was weird because I hadn't really thought about Sunmi as being a Wonder Girls member for a long time, so it was like, yeah, it was just awesome. Yeah, that was like,
yeah,
super hype. It was around that time that I started being like a really big fan of Sunmi. It was like during the reboot era of Wonder Girls. And then yeah, I guess after that then they came out with their last like major single that's not a throwaway goodbye single. Which was Why So Lonely, which is excellent song.
Yeah, it's like a reggae.
Yeah. What the hell? I didn't realize there's 2 songs on that single. I don't think I've ever listened to these. Oh, better add them.
I probably have because I've just listened to their discography before, but I don't remember them at all.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll add them and check them out. And then in 2017 they're like, hey, we're disbanding, and then they gave us this single that like wasn't that memorable.
It was just standard ballady goodbye single.
Like,
I think for Wonder Girls,
really
like
in charge of a K-pop group, if I'm like having a goodbye single, I'm going out with a bang.
Yeah. What was the one group that did that? There was one group that we were really happy with their goodbye single, and the rest of them we just didn't enjoy. I can't remember what though. I don't know. Whatever. Maybe it'll pop up here. Yeah, I think for Wonder Girls, like, check out their singles. Some of them aren't the best, but they're still good. And like we said, some of them are just like classics.
Yeah.
Even if they have
I'd say with Wonder Girls,
and then listen to
most of what you should check out is like their singles for the most part, I'd say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, should we talk about the last of the
biggest 4?
The big 4.
So lastly, for the biggest 4 groups, girl groups back then, 21. I'm sure a lot of you have definitely heard 21. I feel like YG groups just get like, they just get a lot of.
They have a really long tail.
They get what?
They have a really long tail in terms of like their popularity. Like people, like it's not like
similar
Karo,
to. I think it was similar to Blackpink in that like every like in out west in the Western world at least, like people know who they are. For some reason. So yeah, 21. I guess for me, I'd kind of just like rattle off like the songs I guess that I like. So on there, like
there aren't too many.
There aren't many. So. What?
There just aren't very many songs.
Yeah.
So like,
there's only 50. They have 51 songs total according to my iTunes.
Really, that's more than I thought.
Actually, that might be wrong.
That seems way more.
Oh no, it is wrong because I remember counting like 44 or something like that.
2 minis and 2. Yeah, I was gonna say they only had 2 minis and 2 full albums.
So
there's no way that adds up to.
On their first album, Fire. That's the main that's their debut single. It's very 2000s is what I'll say. It's very 2009. Like just in general, it's just a very 2009 song.
That whole album is just 2009
Yeah.
bangers.
So like it's so yeah, 2009 and complete with like auto tune and ugly fashion and stuff like that. So if that's kind of
God, Dara's
yeah,
hair.
the palm tree hair. Yeah, so if like that's your thing,
Yes.
you'll probably like 21. But if you don't like the auto tune and like again, if you're like super anal about like things seeming super dated, you're probably not gonna be into it.
Yeah.
Like 21's
Yeah.
music, early music for sure is definitely a product of its time.
Oh, 100%.
So yeah, like Fire. I Don't Care is a great song.
Yeah, I Don't Care is probably my favorite.
Yeah. In the Club I really liked on that album as well. And I remember listening to Pretty Boy a lot as well, which I heard was apparently the very first song they ever recorded together. Yeah. So,
yeah, it's weird because like I can actually probably sing along to most of these songs. Like they're all like fun, memorable 2009 K-pop songs. And that's the thing. Like I didn't hate 2NE1's music, which is surprising because I don't really like autotune that much. But like you said back then, it was
that's what music was like. Pop music was like.
That's what. Well, yeah, and it was used as a style, not as like a making bad vocals sound better.
Yeah. It was a gimmick.
Like,
it wasn't
it was
like
just
a band-aid.
It was a gimmick, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. So like I can forgive
yeah,
it
like
that.
like 21 in their own right.
And 4 Minute did the same thing
as well. Like CL is actually a very good singer, even though
exactly.
she's known as a rapper usually. Like Pak Bom, I feel like if anybody watched Queendom, you know how good of a singer she is. Or I guess
although she
had bad vocals back then. Okay, yeah, because I know she has issues with like her mouth or whatever.
Yeah,
like she's got a
She did really well on some of the stuff. She just had a couple.
Yeah, like doesn't
parts.
she have like something that's like swelling or whatever?
I'm not sure. That's
I don't know. I know Pak Bom, like she had some issue like with her like mouth, I think, which I think unfortunately caused her to get a lot of plastic surgery, but it's whatever. But I feel like, you know, had to do what you had to do. But anyway, they had their second album, their first full album, which was 2NE1, which is like a play on their name. Like it could be pronounced like, so it's spelled 2NE1. It's pronounced 21, like the number.
Yeah.
The album has the number 21 on the front, and then the title is 2, the word 2, like TO, anyone.
Yes.
So that was kind of cool.
The word, yeah. Yeah. Well, then it was also really confusing because after that they put out their second mini album, which was just called 2NE1 with their name of the group, which was the name of their first mini album too. Like their second mini album just doesn't have a name,
and then 21 second mini album. That's what they're called. Yeah. Yeah,
they just don't have name because the first one was called what the group is called, and then they just didn't give the second one a name, so that they just had to do that. It's really dumb.
Actually, yeah, I guess that's so their first 3 releases are called 2NE1.
20, yeah, exactly.
I never even noticed that, actually. Yeah,
really, I knew that for like. Yeah,
I always just call them the first mini album, and second mini album, or whatever.
That's what they're called, basically. Yeah. They didn't get real.
So
names.
Like on their full album, I'd say the standouts are, so like Can't Nobody, just because it's a classic. People are gonna hate that song. I know if you don't like autotune, you're not gonna like this song, but it's super catchy. It's fun. Go Away, I really loved back in the day, like when I first got into K-pop. I never really liked Clap Your Hands. That was one that I never liked. Like that was just one doesn't like fit with my taste for the like auto-tune stuff. You and I, Park Bom, that's like her first like solo single. It's really good.
Yeah, that song's really
Dara had Kiss, which is really fun as well. That was a solo as well. I think after that was I'm the Best, right?
That was the second mini album.
Yeah, so
yeah, I pretty much like didn't really listen to the first full album that much at all. I don't really know much about it.
Yeah, I listened to this one a lot before Yeah, like back in like 2011, 2012, I listened to that a lot.
Yeah, for me it was just their debut single or debut mini, and then the second, like the two minis are what I listen to a lot.
So I guess onto the second mini, which includes "I'm the Best," which is I'd say easily their most popular song, most
Everyone
iconic
knows.
song.
Yeah.
I feel like that was another song that like just random people knew for some reason, like they had heard "I'm the Best" before.
Yeah.
I know it was in a.
Didn't they use it in like some?
Yeah, they used it in a Microsoft Surface ad
in the U.S.
like during the Super Bowl or something like that. It was
it was during the Super Bowl, exactly. Yeah.
Like I remember watching the Super Bowl and it was like, why is this playing?
Yeah, exactly. It was really confusing.
So next, okay, honestly, the entire second mini album, all the songs on that are good in my opinion. So like "Ugly," "Lonely," "Hate You," "Don't Cry," which is Bomb's second single, which is actually probably one of my favorite K-pop songs. I remember I was talking to Jakari about this at some point, but I was like, I remember listening to the her like studio performance of that song like a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And then "Don't Stop the Music." It's probably the weakest on the album, but it's still it's a catchy, again, auto-tune mess, but it's fun and it's iconic. It's Anyway, after that they kind of just like released like sparse like singles. Until
they kind of petered off, and
like in 2013, 2012, like
disappears.
2012 they just released "I Love You," which is probably one of my favorite of their singles. And then 2013 they just released like 3 random like singles. They did "Do You Love Me," "Falling in Love," "Missing You," which is a pretty good ballad actually. And then finally in 2014, I think this is like their, like what people should check out the most is "Crush," their second album, because I feel like that's actually legitimately a very good just very good K-pop album. It's got like "Come Back Home," which is great. "Gotta Be You" is very good. Scream's probably my favorite 21 song. It's I think they originally released it in like, I want to say like 2012 or 2013 or something like that in Japan only, so I never listened to it.
Yeah, it's 2012. It was their Japanese debut.
And then
or their first original Japanese song,
and then the Korean version of "Scream" was on Crush, and that's what I listened to a lot. That whole album's pretty good actually. I really enjoy Crush. And then lastly we got "Goodbye," which is Goodbye single with I think only 3 members because Minzy left.
Yeah, that was weird. That was
thing. So weird.
Just their whole
like they didn't even
their whole end.
Like I remember, I think that was around when we started the podcast. Was when "Goodbye" came out. Yeah, 2017. So I remember talking about that, and we were like, "Oh, maybe they'll get Minzy to come back for the "Goodbye" single." Nope. I feel like she was not even asked.
Yeah. So they went into hiatus because of Bomb's drug scandal, and then CL did solo stuff, which was all failed. Like,
well, she was the next attempt at trying to break into the U.S. market.
Yeah. Dara did acting stuff.
To be honest, with CL's like American career, I don't really blame her. I blame like YG and the producer she's working with, because I've heard some things she's like kind of hinted at, and they kind of just left her out to dry. Like they didn't do anything.
That's
with
not
it.
Surprising with YG. I mean, that's just how YG works. They just don't do anything.
I don't know what the hell did they do every day at YG? Like that's what I want to know.
Probably just
like if you're this huge company and you make all this money, what do? You not make music.
A bunch of really gross illegal things.
You do gross illegal things, prostitution, nightclubs. Yep.
Yeah, money laundering, selling drugs.
God,
sex
trafficking. Blackpink should leave YG.
Yeah, YG should not have survived last year, but somehow they did. So,
God.
Okay.
All right. Next, we can get into the
Should we move on? I was gonna say, are we gonna have to? This might have to turn into like
two-parter.
2 episodes.
We could do that. Why don't we do a couple
I feel
more
like
groups?
there's
and then
so
we
many.
cover the other ones next episode.
Yeah, there's like so many groups I still want to talk about, and I'm like, we're an hour and a half.
Yeah, we could do
so
that. We could like. Yeah, I'll talk to you about it like after we're done recording, I guess.
Yeah, we'll
yeah. Let's do a couple more groups now, and then we can cover the next ones next time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we definitely should still talk. We definitely
4 Minute and
talk
Tiara,
4 Minute.
I think, are the two big
and
ones.
Tiara, yeah.
So 4 Minute, they, I don't know. It's hard to say, but at one point they were like solidly like my second favorite group. Like I loved 4 Minute.
Yeah, they were number 4 for me for a really long time after SNSD card.
Yeah.
I think.
Like 4 Minute was the second group I ever like discovered in K-pop. I found like the basically like all the singles off of their first 2 mini albums, which I guess I'll just go into now. 4 Music was their debut album with Hot Issue, which was a big hit in Korea actually.
Yep, Hot Issue.
Yes. Yeah, so if you want like a historical, like you get a must check out song, Hot Issue is again another like product of its time. It's so 2009.
Yes.
Like it reeks of 2009.
Yeah, all their early stuff is so auto-tune-y.
Like they do it even more than 21 does,
2009.
but I feel like it was more melodic, so that was kind of like what I liked. So like I always liked 4 Minute more than 21. Like they were
same.
like when 4 Minute first debuted, they were super popular because of Hot Issue. And they were like not that they weren't popular later, but like this is before 21 really blew up with I'm the Best and all that kind of stuff. So like they were like the direct competitors back when they first debuted, 4 Minute and 21, because they kind of inhabited the same niche.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, exactly. It was like SNSD and Wonder Girls.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it was like 21 and 4 Minute.
Yeah, so Hot Issue, and then what the hell? Okay, iTunes messed this up.
What?
Some of the songs are not on this album on iTunes for me for some reason.
Next.
So yeah, like Hot Issue, Music is so good. People today are gonna think it's so bad, but it's so good.
Oh, it's really, yeah, exactly. It is really bad for modern K-pop. But
like if you were there, if you like listened to it back then and liked it, like it's just so catchy and fun. But like I feel like if somebody came out with it today, I like if I was unbiased, I wouldn't like it.
Yeah, it's not a great song, but it's just a classic.
Yeah, it's a classic, just like cringy song. K-pop song, basically.
Yep.
Next is their Hit Your Heart mini album, which is kind of like the place where I like get the most nostalgia for them.
Yeah.
So like which is Hit Your Heart.
This and the next one.
That song I love. And most of all, I'm Me Mine. I love that song.
I'm Me Mine. I'm Me Mine and Mirror Mirror are like
those two are my favorites as well.
Before
other than volume,
not counting like yeah, exactly, which we'll get to. Like early 4 Minute to me, like I'm Me Mine and Mirror Mirror.
Yeah, I'm Me Mine is one of my all-time favorite K-pop songs. I think like I love that song so much. Yeah, so hit I'm Me Mine and Mirror Mirror, which is on the next album in 2011. That also had Heart to Heart, which that's so good. Like it's just like a happy.
Yep. It was so weird.
Yeah, it's like a happy pop song that with like no auto tune at all. It was like not electronic.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like acoustic.
Yeah, the music video for that song is hilarious because they're just like ruining this guy's life.
It's a bassist.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like they were going in like putting super glue on his his toothbrush and like like doing all these horrible things, like breaking his car. And like like they were doing all this like horrible stuff to him, even though he literally like he just cheated on it. Like that's all he did.
So here's the description according to Wikipedia. The video starts with a woman played by Hyuna and her boyfriend, Jungchin, sitting on a couch talking. She notices how much he has changed, but he stands up and walks off. After she and other members are at a club, she notices him talking to another woman. They then plan all sorts of mischief for revenge, including spraying his sandwich, replacing his toothpaste and shaving cream, delivering inappropriate items to his workplace, making his car not start, dropping a large fake spider while he's sitting on the couch, and getting him arrested using edited photos.
Like, what the frick is wrong with you? Like, it's so funny.
It's so messed up.
It's so funny though. I love that music video. Yeah, Mirror Mirror Heart Heart. There is First, which I know the Japanese version of that better, because the music video was made for Japan. And it was also one of the only times Ji-yoon had long hair for some reason. It was really weird. Like, she almost always had like shoulder length hair, and she had like extensions on her hair first.
And she had sunglasses. She never took off her sunglasses for like a million years.
Oh yeah, and
the first like 3 years of 4 Minute, she always had sunglasses on.
Yeah. So. Oh, I also missed. Is Ready Go Korean or Japanese? I don't remember. That's one that people always forget about.
Ready Go's late. It's the 2011 Japanese.
Yeah, so it was Japanese. Yeah, that one's worth checking out. That one's really good. I used to listen to that a lot.
I just like don't know any of their Japanese stuff because they didn't really. They just gave up on it after 2012.
Yeah, they just had random singles in Japan.
Well, yeah, and almost all of them are remakes. They have
Wait, Ready Go's a remake?
No, it's not, but it's like one of 2 or 3.
Oh, okay. Wait, what do you mean by remakes? Like remade the Korean singles
like up there,
in Japanese?
The Japanese version. Yeah,
like Ready Go and First, I think were the only 2, right? Oh no, Love Tension.
And Love Tension, which is their last.
Dude, I love the music video for Love Tension, by the way. Like with the red lines or whatever.
I don't know if I've ever watched it. Yeah, I don't know if I watched it.
You should watch it, like, right now. It's good.
I'm not going to watch it mid-episode.
Anyway, after that is, like, the kind of crown jewel of their career, which is Volume Up. I feel like most people, like, unanimously agree that's, like, their best. Unless you're, like, some random new K-pop fan who thinks Crazy is their best. But you're on crack if you think that.
Yeah, I was going to say, new fans that know 4 Minute probably think Hate or Crazy are the best, but Volume Up is just one of the best K-pop songs ever made.
Honestly, you're like completely on crack if you think anything's better than Volume Up.
It has just the whole thing is just has this insanely good sax part. Yeah. It's an actual saxophone. It's not like BS MIDI saxophone, and it's just so good. Like, listen to Volume Up. Watch the music video. They're like vampires. There's a snake.
I like.
Hyuna just has a snake. Actually, I don't know if it was Hyuna.
I think it was Gayun that had the snake.
Yeah, it was Gayun.
She had like an anaconda, like just like.
Yeah.
Or a python. I think it was a python actually. But yeah, that whole thing was awesome. That album in particular had pretty good B-sides, I remember. Like, I remember liking Black Cat a lot.
Yeah, Yeah, Volume Up's a really good album, and on top of being the best single.
After that, they kind of went into, like, my least favorite era for a minute, I think.
I was going to say, after Volume Up's when they got weird.
Yeah, they stopped working with Shinsadong Tiger after that. That's what happened. They started working with Brave Sound instead.
Brave
Brave Sound, dude. Brave Sound became they became my least favorite K-pop trope after a while. Like I liked their songs, but it was literally the only reason I was annoyed by them is because they worked with like every artist ever.
Yeah, well, no, that's why I forgot to remind you, you should do the rating we're doing. Let's do at the end of this month.
You're doing like AOA and Brave Girls and stuff like that.
It's literally just it's the Brave Sound rating because it's AOA, Hello Venus, like EXID, it's just all of the groups that they work with for like everything. Half of the songs start with Brave Sound.
Yeah, so so the first single they did with Brave Brothers was What's Your Name? which it's a good song. It's just different. Like it's like I
Yeah,
remember
like,
being really like
there's
not knowing what to think about it when it first came out.
yeah,
I was
exactly.
like, this doesn't even sound like 4 Minute.
I've grown to
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it, but
exactly.
it was so different and just did not fit with anything they had done
Yeah,
before. Like that and Is It Poppin', like
yeah,
those two, and What You Doing Today,
yep,
like all three of those are so weird, and like that was kind of when I stopped like
yeah.
really
Oh,
hardcore standing for
and
a minute.
suddenly Jiyoon like was a rapper now, even though she was like one of the best vocalists in the group. They're like, yeah, you're a rapper
Yeah,
now. I was like, okay,
that was yeah. Their member distributions was always. I mean, it was always thrown off by the fact that Yano was just like the only member that anyone
well,
cared
they
about.
had Jiyoon on.
It was one of those.
They had
situations.
her on Unpretty Rap Star or whatever, and I think she talked after that, saying like that they just made her be a rapper, like try being a rapper for
Yeah,
some reason. And like if you look
yeah,
at her like solo stuff, which is called like Genier or something like that now, um,
yeah,
like she just doesn't. She's back to singing.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like her and Gayun were the ones like trading like high notes in volume up, and then 2 years later they have
Yep,
her just rapping. It's so weird.
yep. Yeah, it didn't really make much sense.
But yeah, like What You Doing Today and What's Your Name, like they're good. They're good singles, but they just were like not like what I expected from 4 Minute. Like I
Yeah,
remember
exactly. It was just too different.
not not listening to What You're Doing Today that much when it first came out, just because I was like, this again.
Yeah, same.
Because I was hoping they'd go back to like volume up style, but alas, that day never
Yep.
came. So
Nope.
after that's the next next era, the Skrillex era
experience. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is actually where I started liking their stuff again. Like Crazy and Hate, they're just insane, like hardcore.
Well, yeah, it's like almost like Monster X style,
bangers.
Almost like that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It really is. It's like good Monster
Yeah.
X. Not their recent stuff. But yeah, it was just like this really, really hard hitting, just bangers.
Well, hate is interesting because really... it's like basically a rock song that they replace the guitars with like super like wubby dubstep.
Yeah, dubstep. Yeah, because Skrillex produced
which
it.
It kind of makes sense
like
that it was written like that though, because I think Skrillex was actually made like punk rock music before he was into electronic stuff. So yeah. Andrew could tell you better about it. I remember him talking about it before.
Yes, he was he joined a post-hardcore band from first to last as the lead singer, and recorded an album, 2 albums, but one of them is titled "Dear Diary, My Teen Angst Has a Body Count."
Oh,
so that tells you all you need to know.
But yeah, so yeah, Crazy was the first one in this sort of era.
Yep.
I like Crazy less than Hate. I think Hate's better.
Yeah, Crazy's like the more popular one, but
Crazy just gets a little bit annoying, I think, for me. Just because of the chorus. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very repetitive.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a song I like. It's not like one of my all-time favorite K-pop songs, like Volume Up or I My Me Mine is. And yeah, Hate was really good, like especially with just the way it was like composed, with like starting out with like just the stripped back like Gayun vocals, and then it just drops into like the banger.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Hate's really good. Yeah, in conclusion, I really miss 4 Minute.
Yeah, 4 Minute's great. They're like, once again, their B-sides really, like, I feel like SNSD was the only group that consistently put out really good B-sides from this era. Like 4 Minute had some good B-sides, but it, like, there isn't anything like I can instantly think of being like, oh, go check this B-side out.
I'd say like
it's all their
SNSD,
singles.
and then For the Time 21 also did.
Yeah, that's true. 21 did For the Time. nowadays they haven't.
Yeah,
aged
I
as
think
well.
that's really the main issue with 21's discography is that it just hasn't aged well. I think it's also kind of with 4 Minute the same case actually, just because it's super
yeah, exactly.
like I don't want to say gimmicky, but that's kind of like the word I would go with. It's kind of just like it relies on the like auto tuning gimmicks, which kind of don't age well in 2020. Kind of like
yeah.
If you want to put it in terms of like video games, for example, like doing hyper realistic graphics on like a early PS3 or late PS2, like they don't really age very well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't translate outside of its time frame very well.
Yep. But thing to note with 4 Minute though, check out Hyuna's solo stuff. It's all very good.
I mean she's still relevant today as a soloist. So
her yeah, exactly. She's still. There was some of the stuff, like some of the more recent stuff, we weren't as big of fans of. But like,
Change.
I mean, Bubble Pop is a classic.
Dude, Bubble Pop
K-pop
is
song.
more popular than anything 4 Minute put out, or at least it was way back when.
And listen to that EP because all 5 songs on that EP are
really good. A Bitter Day
is
one of my favorite songs. I love that.
Downtown, A Bitter Day with Gina, Downtown with Jiyoon, like Just Follow with Ducky, like just that whole album was insane. Change is really good.
Gina.
Also, check out Yoon.
Oh my god, yes.
The only K-pop group to ever put out a country song. They put out like Jiyoon and Gayoon, who you did not expect to put out a country song, and Cube, who you did not expect to produce a country song, put out a K-pop country song called 24/7.
Yeah, and I remember the music video
catchy
had
as hell.
This weird guy with like a nose ring that was a chain that turned into an earring, and I thought it was like the weirdest thing in the world.
Wait, was that in that music video?
I think there's a guy, and then Taemin did that too, like in his Danger music video.
Okay.
Like, hold on, I'll pull up to you. I'm pretty sure there was like a dude in that music video that was like that. Like why are you out west with the weird like?
Remember your screen recording. I don't know if you.
No, I didn't hear. We're good.
Discord. Good.
Okay. I swear to it is. It is this music video. Yeah. Like there's just there's a guy with like a really weird hairstyle and like the nose ring that turns into an earring, and then he's also got a chain that looks exactly the same like around his neck. It's like weird choice, but okay. But it was 2013, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like the weirdest thing that I never would have expected to happen ever, and it actually turned out to be like a pretty fun,
I like
song.
It.
Okay, do we want to do one more, or do we want to stop there?
I think that's a good. I think that's a good place to stop probably. Because I think we could open up like next episode with Tiara and then go from there. Because
I was gonna say Tiara and Miss A maybe were the only other two, but we're already at like an hour and 45.
So that seems like a good place to stop. So I guess next episode expect continued conversation of this, and
we got a lot more groups to talk about, to be honest. Like in my head, I've got listed out. We got like Tiara, Miss A, A-Pink, Secret.
Oh my god, Secret. I miss them.
Like Girls' Day,
definitely.
After School in Orange Carmel.
Yeah, we have to talk about all them.
We got a lot of groups. Rainbow.
So
there's 9 muses. Too many. We could do this for a whole month.
So I guess with that, next episode we'll cover more of these groups. We'll probably cover some of the major singles that come out between that now and then also. And so I guess
maybe we make this like half of a podcast for a while, where like we'll do some reviews and then bring up a couple groups.
Sounds like a good idea.
And just keep that.
I like the idea.
As like
I guess thing. Yeah. So I guess with that, thanks for listening this week. Join our Discord if you want to continue the conversation there. Everybody's always on all the time, basically. I guess as long as you're in the I'd say the western side of the world, there's usually somebody on. But if you're on the eastern side, there's some other people over there as well. Like because
also the sleeping hours for the people on the western side are very late anyway. So
like I stay up till like 2 a.m.
There's pretty much people on all the time. Yeah, definitely check it out though. It's a good place to hang out. You can talk to us. You can do fun stuff like songwriting. There's a
ton of nice people on there as well.
We do another season of Fantasy League.
Yep.
And then we've been doing concert watch-alongs this week, Saturday.
Yep.
You have no idea what this is because it's just a shiny thing, but this is Fantasia.
I've never even seen that packaging
Japanese
before.
Concert. This is the Blu-ray Japanese version.
Oh, that's
Fantasia.
why. Okay. Yeah, because I've seen the Korean one. Just looks like the poster. I think, like the green and black.
Yeah, this one's it's the green and black. But this is the Japanese one, which has Galaxy Supernova.
Does it have
on
Caramel
it.
Butterfly?
So
that's what's important. That's also what's important, I guess.
It has Beep Beep.
Beep Beep's good.
Mixed with O.
I don't think I've seen that.
It does not have Caramel Butterfly.
Dude, the chair choreography is so good.
But it has some really good songs.
All right. Anyway, I guess I'll continue to sign us out. I guess, so join Discord. Let us know if you enjoyed this episode. Leave your comments on YouTube.
Yeah, if you all hate this, then I guess we won't continue it. But I assume people won't hate it.
Just having especially if you're a newer fan, hearing about the history and stuff like that, I feel like could be informational and interesting, I guess, to find out about. So we've done this on the girl group side.
Jacob and I have a lot.
I'd like to do this on the boy group side as well later on once we finish the girl groups.
I think if we just continue this as a continuous thing that happens every episode, we can just transition once we're done with girl groups and boy groups.
That sounds fun. So I guess with that,
we have a lot of knowledge.
Listen again
to bring to
what'd you say?
The podcast. I said we have a lot of knowledge between the two of us to bring to the podcast, considering
especially for this
hardcore following,
especially for this era of K-pop. This is my day. It's back because I was into this stuff these years was me in late middle school and all through high school. That was when I was definitely the most into K-pop. I was just I think it's just because it was at the time where I didn't know everything, so I just had this infinite reservoir of stuff to just take in.
Exactly.
So
for me it was just second half of college.
Yep. So I guess with that, again, thanks for listening. Leave comments on YouTube if you like this. Correct us if we said anything wrong, by the way, because probably have some things jumbled up. I know I mixed up the release order for Wonder Girls. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like our podcast. If you listen to audio versions, leave reviews on iTunes and Spotify and stuff like that. Can you even review on Spotify? I don't even know if that's a thing. If it is, do it, please.
I don't know if you can review. You can definitely follow us. I think that helps our statistics.
Anyways, thanks for the support. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you again in 2 weeks.
Yep, I know.
Stay second gen.
Stay throbbingly second gen. But he said, JYP texted Jay and said, I never knew I'd be listening to a song you composed for 3 days straight on repeat. 3 days straight on repeat. Congrats for the great results. And Jay said, thanks so much. I apologize for the problems I've caused with this comeback. I'll get better ASAP and get back to the wheel soon. Always appreciate